super happy to say that this is the main point of entry of our feminist and decolonial position, which relates to the way that gender inequalities are also linked in a macroeconomic dimension through the sexual division of labor. And we have as a guest amazing speakers and experts and friends who we also want to hear their take on the video. As a start, we have our beloved and much admired Valeria Esquivel, who is actually, her name is a legend in the Latin American tradition, and globally she has done amazing things as well in ILO. We also will be having the views of Denise Velez and Alma Collin, who were the main briefers to the creative team of the Peteneras, who are the creative team behind the production of this video. So we will have them here, and hopefully we will have a surprise for you if the surprise can show up, and we will see. But that we will leave it for later. But without much further ado, if you're fine with it, let's go first to the video, and let's watch the video, and then let's come back to the reactions and everything that needs to be said about this creative process.
Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's a drone! No! It's the empowered almighty women! Super women!
She is my mom!
See you!
What? Where do you think you are going?
Hey!
They are superheroes! Cool!
They are not superheroes! Boo! They were born to provide care and do the chores. It's only their natural role.
Let's go. What's going on? The superwomen are falling down. Oh, they are under attack. This must be the work of...
Everyone, of you, of him, of them, of everybody.
Me? There's gotta be something wrong.
That's it. We are done. We can no longer bear the burden of sustaining life. The impacts of climate change escalate our unpaid domestic and care workload.
Women of the least developed countries and the small islands bear the brunt of all of the crisis combined.
No woman in the world can bear this situation any longer.
Greedy sector, we have a problem. The superwomen are complaining about their obligations. They realize now that the notion of empowerment is just an excuse to exploit them even more.
Let's get rid of them.
No, don't be a fool. Nobody will do what they do. Your multinational corporation should help them. Don't worry, girls. My friend and I will save you.
A nice surprise is on your way! Now, girls, say hello, Money!
You will also take home the exclusive Chef Gordon Gamsey's cookbook. And to enhance your displays of affection, what about these workshops?
I got this! Let's pay men to help a tiny bit with parenting!
So you can finally get rid of those rags and become fine ladies. The Empowerment Suit!
These are not solutions.
What you call a rag is a symbol from Pacific activists to the world. We're saying with pride that it's us, you, women and gender diverse people who sustain and defend the commons. We're not fictional characters. Women are the real Wonder Women. The capes are symbols of work for justice, rebalancing of ecology, of autonomy, and of freedom.
What? I've read all about the wealth of nations. I am a follower of Adam Smith. Hashtag father of economics. Ouch! No!
How is the division of labor thingy going?
Oh, wonderfully! I have come to the conclusion that in the overall economy, value is the result of labor. Your beans, for instance.
Are you going to include my work and that of women?
Of course not! My dissertation is centered on those who produce the beans. That is to say, productive men.
Oh, what about us?
Oh, sweetie pie, you women do not even work. So you do not generate any value.
What do you mean I don't work? I buy groceries. I cook your dinner, lunch, breakfast, and even your snacks. So you can dedicate all of your time to play around with your invisible hand.
My mommy pampers me. Oh, get out of here, Mom! You're just wasting my time! We intelligent, autonomous, and grown-up men need to continue working for economic growth.
Grown-ups? Autonomous? You cannot even boil an egg.
Eh? Preposterous!
Yes, Adam Smith was a great man.
Adam Smith? He only considered that productive work was only this tiny segment representing work mainly done by men. And it is so fragile, it is held only by the tip of a pen. Because the real support comes from the unpaid work done by women. The world and its multiple crises are sustained by the extraction of women's labor and time, especially of those women facing multiple discriminations. This is why, super government, you have to recognize all of the work done by us.
What do you think you are? Men with rights? Let's get rid of them!
Women do this for love. They were born to take care of us. Empowerment!
Those are fairy tales. Cleaning the house and looking after of all the family members is not love. It is work.
So, my mommy doesn't love me?
Stop exploiting your mom.
It is not all women. These are ideas of a few haters, right?
Haters!
A few women!
succeed in convincing super government of the importance of redistributing work and changing their current situation?
All the women in the world, join us in the global fight. Can domestic labor rise? Care systems in the rise.
Super government, you are the guardian of the care policies. It is your duty to ensure women's rights.
There is no women's empowerment without women's human rights.
Care should not be confined to the family realm.
The value of care is not to be extracted for the profit of the private sector.
We want social protection floors and universal care systems. Representation and recognition of domestic and care workers. Just transition of the labor force with a gender perspective.
Invest in access to quality care services for all.
Progressive taxation is the way to go.
Financial institutions should be accountable for redistribution.
Transform public space for care redistribution.
Care demand empowerment of all sectors.
Care is macro.
Care is global.
Care is in crisis because of all of the other crises.
Domestic and care work sustain life and must be recognized as work. It must be fairly distributed in society. Collective action and mobilizing are the real superpowers. And while we're on it, hooray for the mighty, mighty feminists!
Okay, this is the video and we're super proud to be launching it live. Just wanted to give a bit of context before going to our critical friend, who's Valeria Esquivel, and just say that some years ago, when UN Women wanted to take Wonder Women as their main symbol, the feminists around the world rallied against that message because it was imperialist, it was sexist, it was colonialist, it was everything that was wrong. And then women in the Pacific island started this movement that was Women Defend the Commons, and they started to share around these capes, yellow capes with black dots, and they started to take pictures of them during rural work in fisheries, taking care of the communities during disasters, etc. So they did this huge campaign in saying that women are the real superheroes because they were protecting the commons. And then the message of the capes, given that they were engaged also globally, was taken over by the women's major group in the SDGs and in the climate change negotiation by the Women and Gender Constituency. And so we all showed up to the UN hallways wearing these capes, and we also started using them in March. So it's like a counter argument against this very easy portrayal of the agenda. And it was actually so effective that UN Women gave up on its intent just one day after they launched their intent on the Wonder Women icon. But it's to us, it's a great example on the power of movements, and the campaign of campaigns with the Rise of series, as you've seen, not only wants to portray the issues, but also to pay homage to the real activists on the ground around all of the regions. In this case, we also wanted to pay homage to the women in the Pacific, as it is reflected because they're also receiving all of the impacts of all of the environmental destruction at the moment. And in this case as well of Antonella Picchio, who's a great feminist thinker. We tried to contact her so that she could lend her voice, but we never were able to contact her for the time of the production. But we'll make sure Antonella sees this video, because it means really a lot to us symbolically. But without much further ado, I will give the floor now to our critical friend Valeria Esquivel, so that we could hear her reactions and to also learn from her views about the overall discussion or the specific contents of the video. Go ahead, Valeria.
So thank you for inviting me to the launch of the video, and congratulations on it. I think it has a lot there, and I think it's about time that Antonella gets the recognition she deserves. She is our hero. There are other feminist economists there. I think it's Radhika Varnakrish. I never pronounce her surname well, but Varnakrishan, and I think perhaps Cristina Carrasco there at the end are portrayed, and I think it's great. I have mixed feelings with the video. I really like the second part, and I really like the idea that the agenda is one of redistribution, and that we shouldn't be co-opted by little help. And I think the idea of help and criticizing the idea of help is very good, because sometimes it is men that help and the state that helps, and that is against the idea that care is it's an universal responsibility. We all will need or have or needed care to get where we are, and we should all be responsible in ways in which are not detrimental of our rights, nor of the rights of those who need to receive care. So we've learned that care and paid care work cannot be abolished or completely replaced, and that we therefore need to redistribute it. Also, the video shows that we have a problem with governments, because the problem is that we need them to work for us, and sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So it is at the very beginning they are pictured as alongside the bad guys, a bad guy himself, and then we ask them to have the responsibility for care policies. And so that is one of the issues that I saw in the video, is that well, not all governments are equal, and so therefore we have political tasks ahead to engage with governments and to push forward our agenda. So that was the first thing that really caught my attention. And indeed, the issue is how we design those care policies, which is very well framed in the second part, and also how to finance them, and in ways that are proper. So in a way, the thread of the video, which goes from recognition to care policies and national care systems, is one that we've been pushing for. I mean, from academia, from UN organizations, from the women's movement initially. I mean, mainly the women's movement, and us as part of from many corners as part of it. I also share the idea that empowerment is a trap, and that in the ways it is usually framed as an individual thing. No, so each of us is empowered as if it had nothing to do, our empowerment, with our collective action, with our movements, and if it was an empowerment without power. And I think the point is, I mean, that power is the issue here. So I'm also in agreement with just challenging that notion, that neoliberal individualist notion of empowerment. I think that we might think of alternative ways of thinking about empowerment, but I'm all for that. What I was kind of I would have in a way I would have taken a different turn on the greedy sector, not because I don't think they are as greedy as you show them to be, but because as governments is not a I mean, there are variations there, and we want, and there is an underlying contradiction. We want to tax them to get the resources, and we don't want to fall in traps in getting resources in other ways that support the greedy. So how do we also have the greedy and the non-greedy and in general the private sector pay taxes and to fund the policies we want? And I think yeah, and I think that we need political support for that, and we need governments to be on our side to do that taxing the rich that is shown at the end. Well, if they put money for paternity leave, why not? I mean, again, to me, the problem is not that. The problem is that we need good ways of redistributing time, care, and resources, and for that, the tax debate that is at the end. On Antonella.
Ciao.
Ciao, Antonella.
The video on?
Eh?
See me?
See.
Yes, Antonella, we see you.
Okay, because Antonella, I was going to say that I don't know if you would agree on the criticism that the video shows about paying for care. And because the video kind of implies that those are token payments, and what we need is redistribution. So I was thinking, what would Antonella think about the debate on paying for housework, which is, I don't know, it is not the core of the video, it is a detail, but it appeared there, but that's a minor issue. I think we need, as Antonella has always said, we need the services, we need the time, we need the money. And the issues sometimes are how these policies are designed in order to not to create the things that we don't want, the tokenism, the help without rights, and those issues. So I really liked seeing Antonella being our Adam Smith. So I mean, our classic, and responding to Adam Smith. So Antonella, maybe you want to take the floor.
Yes, the problem, I can't just jump in the discussion because I went to open the door to get a mail, and then I'm late, and plus I didn't understand well the cartoon. I mean, the video is a nice cartoon that was asking for money in different ways. And I think this is a very important issue because we need a radical perspective. And I think that the radical perspective is rooting the theory in the classical theories, in the humanist political economy of Adam Smith, in a sense, which acknowledged the complexity of the human beings, although he didn't understand the feminine complexity, but that was part of the age. The men wouldn't understand anything as they don't now, so it's not so strange. But he needed to center the theory on the human beings, its complexity, social, emotional, and so on, and the sentimental. I think that what Martha Nussbaum, that wrote the book, said, economic sentiments. So, I mean, that is a very profound truth that we could exploit more. But then we also need a radical perspective now, because the money class is ruling the world in a very dense way. Gambling, destroying, using the war, everything to get more money and to get out of any control of it. And the states have been paying this policy for the last year. So that is, again, a very radical front. So I think that the issue of money is now really central for the feminist policy. But I think I can discuss long after you have talked a bit, and I relax for the run into the door and opening the door and coming back. Okay.
Yes, of course. Just Antonella, it is, I mean, I will let Emilia thank you for being here, but we just wanted you to be around. But seeing you, it's even better. So I'll pass the floor to Emilia and to others.
Because I forgot my glasses in the other room. So
yes, you look lovely indeed. Yes.
So,
my dear Antonella, I just can't believe you're here. And as we said, this video was also wanted to pay a homage to you, to your amazing work, the way you have led the feminist structural thinking, the way you are always guiding us with so much clarity, so much complexity and sophistication, and at the same time with so many proposals. We've met many years ago when you came to Mexico City, all of you. Valeria was here. We were organizing this gathering of feminist economists in Mexico City with the government of Mexico City. So you came and you gave one of the most fantastic talks that our team keeps on going back over and over besides your text. So we said, this is a good time to pay a homage, to make Antonella Picchio visible and known to new generations of feminists. And activists globally so that they can go back and bring her valuable voice into these very dire times, because as Valeria was saying, all of these problems are current, and the final segment of proposals are still very much needed everywhere. And it's a huge package of redistribution of all of the actors, and it's not just one thing that relates to only women, but really the way we conceive our space, our engagement with time, with communities, with different levels of societies. So to us, this was an amazing opportunity, Antonella, to feature you. We tried to contact you to use your voice, but it wasn't possible. But at least we want you to know that it was done from their heart. In Equidad de Género, we just worship you and admire you so much. And we use your example. We use your example of the pins as one of the points of entry to explain the entire distribution of labor and time. So for us, it is a real pleasure and a great surprise for our audience that you're showing up.
You have to stop, it's too much. Also because my challenge is the being a feminist as an old lady. Not an old feminist, but an old ladies feminist. Because the struggle now for old ladies is really tough. I see in Venice they're selling all the buildings, the nice buildings that were for the old ladies in town. They're selling for doing hotels and things. So the fact that they owe us a lot of money has to really become a political issue. Because old ladies are really in a position. I know it's very difficult, the old age. It's a nice age, but you control it. And you need a lot of money to control it in autonomy. And so really it's a tough, and I've seen in Latin America, there's a lot of organizing, and also the former communities, there is a lot of discussing about the old ladies. And that's my challenge now. I have to get these buildings back in the hands of women and show that they owe us money, and that's the only way to stop the war. All that money is our money. We have to make it clear in a way that they have to stop, because that is our money and we want it. Otherwise they will give it in arms, in everything. So I think that now we need to be much more radical. And that means we have to know a lot of other things that we don't know. Beside Adam Smith and Marx and whatever is not enough. And show that everybody needs feminism to have a decent life. That is so far from the power we have, that we have to even lose our voice, as you see. Can you hear my voice? Okay.
We can hear you perfectly, Antonella.
But it's an old lady voice.
Full of strength, Antonella.
Oh,
we love to hear you and your voice. Yes, well, that was the part we missed in the video. So here we have your voice and you
exactly
in person.
I can see, that helps me. I can see myself, so that helps. Okay.
Yes, just wanted to say, Antonella, to give the floor to our colleagues, but to follow what you and Valeria are saying. Valeria was challenging this notion of empowerment, and she was saying we need to come up with new concepts as well to define it. And there is this debate in Latin America about different layers of autonomy, right? The political, economical, etc. And you also talked about autonomy. Maybe there are other proposals on agency that I think each of them have a different reflection on it all. But you mentioned autonomy, and that's our Latin American tradition in Equidad. But there is always this play about what in the end Valeria mentioned, that it is about discussing how to move power, and maybe the centering of these complex solutions are really the way forward throughout the cycle of life, and not expecting that individuals can find their own solutions. No, I'm gonna give the floor super quickly to Denise and then Alma, because they are also the masterminds briefing the creative team on this video, and also very much admirers of Valeria's and Antonella's work. So Denise, go ahead.
Thank you, Emilia. I'm super nervous to be here and being with I'm gonna switch to Spanish because it's more easy for me to express all my ideas, but sharing the screen with Antonella and with Valeria, que son mi especie de sheroes, porque son quienes hicieron toda esta producción teórica de la economía feminista, de la ruptura estructural, son mi inspiración. Entonces me siento un poco nerviosa y emocionada por estar aquí compartiendo la pantalla con ellas. Y decir que, voy a ser muy breve para decir que este también es un problema que creo que nos cruza intergeneracionalmente.
Let me interrupt you a bit, Denise. Antonella, we have interpretation from Spanish to English in your Zoom. There is a globe at the bottom of the tools that reads interpretation, so you can switch, so you can also hear what Denise is saying in Spanish into English.
Solo quería decir esto, que el video también nos pasa intergeneracionalmente. Las mujeres jóvenes también estamos siendo afectadas por todas estas políticas que privilegian al capital en lugar de la vida, y que ahora además lo estamos viendo de formas mucho más recrudecidas, con políticas sociales que están basadas en el mercado, que están basadas en otras cosas, y nosotras estamos pensando en nuestro futuro como algo que puede ser muy desalentador, pero también queremos cambiar la forma en la que vemos al futuro, y para ello es muy importante la construcción de sistemas nacionales de cuidado y todas estas políticas de redistribución que pasa por la garantía de nuestros derechos laborales. Y escuchando a Antonella, creo que es importante retomar todas estas ideas y ponerlas en ese contexto intergeneracional y en este contexto también de emergencia, que aunado con la crisis climática nos da esa sensación de que necesitamos actuar ahora, y como un llamado directo a nuestros gobiernos nacionales, pero también a un espacio supranacional. Creo que eso es muy importante desde nuestro espacio, que queríamos ver reflejado, que abordamos diferentes contextos donde debemos de pensar cómo se dan estas relaciones, que son relaciones económicas, ¿no? Pensar estos esquemas de reproducción social de Antonella en diferentes contextos, en contextos de guerra, en contextos de desastre, en contextos de migración, todas estas tramas internacionales del cuidado que se van generando, donde seguimos viendo explotación de nuestro trabajo y cómo todo eso sigue subsidiando la existencia de otros sistemas de la lógica de acumulación, y que bueno, este es un llamado a la movilización en el mundo entero para que sigamos discutiendo todo esto. Y otro punto en el que quiero ser muy breve es en el punto de la autonomía. Y sé que esto es un debate abierto, pero me parece muy importante seguir señalándolo, que los bienes y servicios de cuidado que queremos deben ser públicos. Los queremos también que faciliten o que tengan en mente la autonomía de las personas, y que no sean esta especie de ayuda, sino que posibiliten nuestra existencia y que podamos desarrollarnos en condiciones dignas y siempre en el marco de derechos humanos. Y ahí es fundamental también trastocar la división sexual del trabajo, sobre todo en estos espacios comunitarios donde seguimos siendo las mujeres quienes estamos realizando principalmente este trabajo, pero bueno, creo que ese es el eje o los puntos clave para hablar de una efectiva redistribución. Y ya por último, solo agradecer a nuestras compañeras del Pacífico que nos apoyaron con las voces, y fue un proceso muy divertido, y agradecer también al equipo creativo y a Adriana López, que estuvimos en todo este proceso de acompañar pues que este video sea real, sea una realidad, y que estuvimos retomando mucho de las experiencias en el territorio y de las experiencias que nos trastocan en nuestra cotidianidad. Y debo decir que una de las cosas que hablando del cuidado en contextos de guerra, es el cuidado en contextos de narcotráfico como nuestro país, como eso también debemos de pensarlo, forma parte de cómo se organiza el cuidado y que es eso, ¿no? Que el trabajo doméstico de cuidado no remunerado no cesa, no para y ahí sigue y es necesario visibilizarlo, pero además es mucho trabajo el que hay que hacer y estos son apenas unos pasos y ya voy a dejarle la palabra a Alma porque me puedo extender mucho y muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias a todas. Yo también estoy muy emocionada de estar en esta pantalla con dos de nuestras grandes maestras. Y bueno, también nuestra maestra Emilia, que podríamos decir que es la de la actualidad retomando nuevas generaciones. Y también Denise. Pues yo no, bueno, también comentarles que cuando estamos en los debates en la región, en América Latina, pues justamente surge todo un tema de la diversidad de propuestas que tenemos que tener para cubrir justamente la diversidad de necesidades desde las mujeres, para qué tipo de cuidados son los que necesitamos, que realmente se estén cubriendo todas las poblaciones que más lo requieren y por supuesto sabemos que todas las personas necesitamos cuidados, que la mayoría, por supuesto, se brinda desde las mujeres, pero hay todo un debate también en la región en términos de si vamos a poner el énfasis en las poblaciones que requieren más cuidados o el énfasis también en las condiciones de las mujeres y que justamente ahí está la tensión, que la mayoría de pues de todo este trabajo lo realizamos las mujeres. Y justo me parece muy importante que estén ustedes dos aquí, porque justamente es recuperar sus voces, sus propuestas, es reivindicar que todo esto surgió justo desde el movimiento feminista, que justo ahí es la injusticia que vemos en que la mayor parte del tiempo de las mujeres esté dedicado a este trabajo de cuidado y doméstico no remunerado, que estamos sosteniendo las economías en el mundo y que eso muchas veces se pierde de vista. Hay un debate muy fuerte en todo esto y creo que tenerlas siempre ustedes presentes es no perdernos del camino. Sabemos que es un tema de justicia social y sobre ello queremos ir y también decir que no queremos que se opongan grupos de derechos. No estamos diciendo que ningún grupo tenga que quedar al margen de ello. Es más bien que el gran reto como humanidad que tenemos es cómo hacemos para incluir a todas las poblaciones que más cuidados requieren y por supuesto saber que esto se tiene que redistribuir. Este es, pues ya mis compañeros lo dijeron, la apuesta principal que tenemos y bueno, es algo también de lo que quisimos reflejar en este video, cómo pues las mujeres de distintas partes del mundo todas las tensiones a las que se enfrentan y bueno, vamos retomando cada uno de esos elementos para nosotras, pues también ponerlo en la discusión y justamente que podamos tener unos sistemas más justos. También estamos en la región hablando de los sistemas nacionales de cuidados y bueno, pues ahí tenemos nuestro reto. Esta es una parte de nuestra aportación a todo este debate y decirles también que en esta producción del video, pues fue como muy retador, desde dónde lo hablamos, porque sabemos que hay una condición como mujeres que compartimos, pero insisto en que el gran reto también era cómo reflejamos todas las situaciones, es decir, ya lo focal, ya lo local, cómo es que se podía reflejar en este video y bueno, pues por supuesto del acompañamiento de toda esa tradición de pensamiento que estuviera ahí, por eso queríamos tener a Antonella. Y Valeria, muchísimas gracias también por la participación en ello. Gracias.
Muchas gracias. And let me go back to one example as well that we took from Antonella's Picchio, because what we want to do is to bring this macroeconomic view into the analysis of the small situations, as Alma was saying, and also bring about the different contexts that Denise was mentioning. But we remember that Antonella at one point challenged us in Mexico City and saying that there is this component of this sexual division of labor and the burden that is in the shoulder of women in the points of entry for us to address violence against women, because by men not having enough autonomy, their survival depends on the care that women are providing to them. And we're talking about the grown men, because it's not, Antonella was making the case about how grown men are also using and abusing of time and care provided by grown women. And so the issue of a point of entry from this macro perspective to violence against women was to us so crucial, because she was putting the point on the issue of men's autonomy, whether men in all of these power relations, whether men were real autonomous, because they weren't able to even take care of themselves in their body, you know, their health, on their everyday sustainability. And this was a very key moment for us, because this brings about the notion of rights and the way we think about the alienation of the system for both women and men, because we know that the sexual division of labor also alienates men away from their rights into objects to work for capital and profit. So I think Antonella is bringing us so many discussions to renew the conversation in this radical way, the feminist structural way, to try to bring more solutions in a more comprehensive manner to the challenges that we are seeing. So just wanted to make this example, and we tried to convey it in a very tiny lapse about this source of abuse. But what we couldn't portray, but what Antonella was challenging us as well, was to think about the issue of men not having autonomy, men not being autonomous human beings, and what was that in relation to the entire system. So just wanted to bring it there for the audience and everybody to hear how these views are still very current and very much needed. So I'm gonna give back the floor to Antonella and Valeria for your reactions. We only have 7 minutes, sadly, but we're so pleased to have you both. So anybody who wants to react, go ahead.
Antonella, please go ahead, yes.
The issue of violence of men is strictly related to their vulnerability. And the fact that the autonomy is also depends on how you cope with your vulnerability, and they are very vulnerable. That's why they're so cruel in killing and in beating, and that shows they are really in panic. In that sense, I don't know if you read the Bell Hooks book, Everybody Needs Feminists. I think that she's right. We have to open up the ground, showing that we are talking about everybody and discussing our vulnerability in terms of political issues and not intimate and particular vulnerability. Is we have to show how the system doesn't cope with a normal life of men and women that are vulnerable, need to be cared of, and that there is a common way of caring and has a public reliable way of caring. It's not the state and the man. We need both a different state and a different man, and we have to show how. And we are in a hurry. That's the position now, that we can't wait any longer. We are really at the point of that we need really a strong, radical approach that goes on building strength, common strengths, and is coping with the enemy that is really has no limit in greed, irresponsible, speculating, using everything to get rich, and the nature is falling apart. Animals are falling apart. They're really an aggressive way. So our time has changed. Now it's a very long time. I'm reading a lot of paleontology. Very interesting how the race changed very much. Times had revolution that changed completely the framework. And we are in such a moment, I think, that really the whole thing needs to be deeply. It's no longer an intellectual game with UN people or whatever. We need really to change the perspective and show that we have to act on a different ground That is what bothers me, being old feminist. So I don't know, it's very difficult. I mean, it's the first time that I now discuss these things. And I'm glad that you have been reading and remembering and that. But we need to be all together very strong. Also because you get weaker, but also more determined and everything is more clear. Well, it is nice to see your face.
I think Antonella, I couldn't add anything to what you've said. I would only emphasize that some part of what you've said. I think that these are political issues, and the video shows several traps in which we sometimes are invited to fall into, and we need not to maybe we have several battles from those that we won, like avoiding the Wonder Woman being hijacked by that particular way of thinking about her, to the policy, to the as Antonella said, the money that is going to finance war instead of going somewhere else. We've been through the pandemic, but not everywhere is over. There were policies that were put in place in some places, but in others, the result has been more debt, smaller, indebted states, smaller budgets. So the future is not does not look good in many places of the world, and on top of that, as the video shows, we have several crises that have been piling up for ages, and anyone who is going through 40 plus degrees knows. But sometimes some people who make decisions are cold enough not to see those things. So I think that Antonella's call is something we can take from today's and attach to the video, and with that we will remember in those tough times that come. So it's wonderful to have all feminist ladies like you with us, Antonella.
So I switch off. And are you going on talking? Yes, I just switch off my face.
No. I think it closes now, and I also have to go to another meeting. So yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much to all of you. And we hope we can find another time with more space to discuss of these issues, especially Antonella. We would love to hear what you are reading and what is the new thinking that you're having, and in a loving and caring way as well on our end. So let us know. We will always have a space to provide your amazing voice and views to the larger feminist movement, especially to the new generations. We need your voice and your clarity. And thank you, Valeria, for also bringing us back to the complexities that couldn't be shown in the video of 12 minutes, right? Just wanted to say our audience, so sorry we couldn't go to Q&A, but Lori, just to say that the solutions to your questions are in remaining to mobilize, right? This is why the emphasis at the end is not only, let us say, technical solutions, but also the political power of mobilization. That is the key of this all, and do it collectively in a manner that highlights the special needs and situations of different groups of population, and what are the tasks ahead also at the global level, because without dealing with the global level, we will not be able to solve what is happening at the local and national. But thank you so much, everybody, to the team of Campaign of Campaigns, Equidad, Petenera Consulting and the artists. And we look very much forward to keep on this debate in social media, in the space. The Spice Girls are coming on the next week. So look forward to that. We will keep on discussing this video. And just a reminder that we have the episode 1 on climate change. So that also explains better the reason of the creepy, greedy sector, because related to the corporations. But go ahead and watch it. And thank you so much, Antonella, Valeria, Denise, Alma, Adriana, and everybody, and the work of our interpreters. Thank you so much.